Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Leahy Park, International Chair and co-leader of GYCC. Today, I have the honor of moderating the collaboration between Studiya and Global Youth Climate Challenges, otherwise known as GYCC, on the topic of art and carbon neutrality for sustainable future. I would like to thank our guests for taking the time out of their day amidst your busy schedules. It is truly an honor to be co-hosting this meaningful occasion. To briefly introduce GYCC, the Global Youth Climate Challenges is now in its 5th year since its inception in 2020 and was initiated to enhance the understanding of global youth regarding the climate change responses and to provide a platform for addressing challenges from youth perspectives. Since 2021 at P4G Seoul, GYCC has been raising awareness of P4G issues and amplifying youth voices. So far, 38 countries have participated in GYCC, bringing together youth from across the globe to discuss pressing climate crisis issues. In 2021, the event was elevated to the Youth Generation event of P4G Summit with congratulatory messages delivered by the Crown Prince of Denmark and the Prime Minister of Norway. Establishing the GYCC Secretariat, the Youth Lab, in 2022, it has since become an official youth-led NGO as of last year. Earlier this April, we have officially become the youth advocate of P4G by amplifying youth entrepreneurs through case studies and policy proposals. And introducing Studiya. Studiya is an international art collective and artist-run space based in Seoul, performed by young contemporary artists from diverse cultural backgrounds, working across exhibition curation, publishing, design, film, and interdisciplinary artistic practice. The collectives move fluently between photography, installation, visual design, moving images, and etc. What unites Studiya is a shared commitment to exploring art beyond established boundaries, seeking new methods, new languages, and new sensitivities. The group approaches art as an open field of experimentation where everyday materials and ideas can be reimagined into new forms. Through collaboration and cultural exchange, Studiya aims to broaden the possibilities of contemporary art and contribute fresh perspectives to global conversations. The collective continues to explore how creative practice can shape new ways of seeing, thinking, and engaging with the world. So today, as we gather at the 4th COP session attended by GYCC and the first session by Studiya, we hope this will be another meaningful platform for global youth and stakeholders to communicate and address the pressing challenges of the global climate crisis. So without further ado, let us begin the art and carbon neutrality for sustainable future. First, we will listen to a congratulatory speech celebrating today's event given by the 8th UN former Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, who has proposed the initial launch of GYCC. Although Secretary Ban could not attend the event in person due to prior commitments, he has kindly prepared a message for us. Please address your attention to the screen for the video message.
친애하는 GYCC 청년 여러분, 청년 예술가 여러분, 그리고 내외 귀빈 여러분, 대단히 반갑습니다. 영상으로나마 여러분들을 만나게 된 것을 매우 기쁘게 생각합니다. 청년 기후단체 GYCC 글로벌 유스 클라이밋 챌린지와 청년 예술 갤러리 스튜디야가 공동으로 주최하는 예술과 탄소 중립의 만남으로 여는 지속 가능한 미래 Art and Carbon Neutrality for a Sustainable Future의 개막을 진심으로 축하드립니다. GYCC와 스튜디야의 만남은 단순한 예술 프로젝트가 아니라 탄소 중립을 목표로 예술을 통한 행동, 아티비즘을 알리는 매우 특별한 자리라고 생각합니다. 앞으로 여러 나라의 청년 예술가들이 함께 참여하는 행사로 발전시켜서 전 세계 청년들의 기후변화 대응 의식을 고취하는 데 크게 기여할 것으로 기대합니다. GYCC 청년 여러분, 청년 예술가 여러분, 여러분도 잘 아시는 파블로 피카소는 예술가들은 예술을 통해 보이지 않는 진실을 드러내는 존재라고 말한 바 있습니다. 기후 대응과 연관된 예술 활동이 단편적인 기후 상황을 재현하는 게 아니라 우리들의 무지 속에 감춰진 기후 진심을 드러내는 도구가 될 수 있습니다. 글로벌 예술가들, 특히 청년 예술가들의 역할이 무엇보다 중요하며 여러분의 붓과 음악, 사진과 퍼포먼스는 기후위기 표현을 넘어 지구 환경을 치유하고 인류를 보다 나은 기후 환경으로 연결하는 영향력 있는 도구가 될 것이라고 믿습니다. 아마존은 우리 지구촌 가족 모두가 잘 살아갈 수 있도록 하는 생명의 영혼과 같은 공간입니다. 이렇게 의미 있는 장소에서 GYCC와 스튜디아가 함께 기후변화 대응 청년의 불을 밝히는 이 행사는 인류가 예술의 언어로 숲의 영혼과 지구의 목소리를 듣게 되는 뜻깊은 기회가 되리라 생각합니다. 오늘 보여주는 여러분의 연대와 협력은 세대를 잇고 국경을 넘어 기후위기 시대의 새로운 희망의 문화가 만들어지는 계기가 될 것입니다. 저는 앞으로도 탄소 중립을 향한 청년 예술가들의 용기와 창의적 활동을 적극 응원하고 지지할 것입니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you for the congratulatory message from the 8th UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. That we seek to take courage from the encouraging message that he has given. Now, I would like to invite Alice Odong, Chair and Founder of Art of Change 21, onto the stage for an opening speech. Ms. Odong is a curator and consultant specialized in the ecological transition of the cultural sector and is a founding member of We Make Tomorrow. Please welcome her with a round of applause.
This introduction will be very short. Thank you very much, Korean Pavilion. Thank you, Siobhan, for inviting me as well as other speakers, for inviting Lilian Frage. I never know how to pronounce your name with the Brazilian accent. We are very glad to be here today to be able to share our new initiatives, United Artists for Climate. We need more Korean artists in this campaign. Siobhan, we need you to spread the word and to make sure that artists from Korea are joining us. We will tell more a bit later about this campaign. So I've been involved in art and sustainability for more than 20 years, starting in 2004 at UNESCO with the colloquium, The Artist as a Stakeholder. Then I had several NGOs, and now with Art of Change 21 since 2014. We bring artists to each COP climate, so since the COP21. And as Lilian experiment her first COP, we can see it's very difficult to create this connection between art and climate. And so we need a lot of energy to be able to do that. But we do it, and more we can see how relevant, how needed it is to create this big bridge between the two, because there is no ecological transition without a cultural transition. Because storytellings, because new mindsets, new solutions can be, found in the work or new processes that are experimented by artists today. And we believe that this change, as we talk about today of carbon footprint, we talk about footprint, but there is also a brain print. And we think that the artists are very important to deal with this brain print. The one where you will be inspired to make a change, to see things differently, or to even visualize what could be a world with low carbon, a world with interspecies relations, a world where from Paris to Manaus we will be all united to, to help and try to fix all our environmental issues. So for us, artists are missing in COP. They are not enough invited, represented. That's why we are very honored to see that an official country pavilion take this, thematic. Usually it's me pushing the French pavilion. I've organized twice, round tables and that kind of side event conferences at the French pavilion to talk about art and climate. But this year I thought, okay, even in France it's supposed to be super, in advanced on art and the environment. The bridge between the two, we are not that much in advance in France. So congratulations, Korean Pavilion, for bringing this very important topic today and for inviting, I think, two pioneers. We can consider us, Lilian and I, as pioneers because we've been, doing things on art and ecology for many, many years now. And we will be very happy to share with the other speakers, what we did, what we do now at COP, and what will be the next step. Because what we do now at COP, gathering all the international artists committed to the environment, is the first step to a major action in the future where the artists will really have their place and we will really play their role as accelerators of change and as, accelerators of awareness and the action, especially climate action. So I can't wait to start this discussion and to tell you more about all this. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I absolutely agree that there definitely has to be more art in this space. It's a pleasure to be able to invite you into our pavilion. All right, and thank you. And we'll be hearing our next opening remarks given by Lilian Fraigi, Director of Lab Verde. Based in Amazon, Lilian Fraigi is the Director and Curator of Lab Verde, as a platform where art, science, and traditional knowledge converge, fostering multidisciplinary engagement with nature and culture. Please welcome her with a warm round of applause.
Oi, bom dia. Muito obrigada pela presença de vocês. In Portuguese, good morning, right? So, thanks a lot for your presence, and thanks a lot for the invitation. Thanks a lot, Korean Pavilion, for this opportunity, and also Chevron for this opportunity. I think it's so amazing to be able to share three different institutions from three different, totally different countries in different sphere of the planet. You know, like us in the Amazon that we are from, Alice from France, and Chevron from South Korea. So we don't have these opportunities of collaborating with Asia that often. So thanks a lot for this opportunity, and I really hope that this is the beginning of new collaborationships, right? Because I do believe that we have so much in common, the Amazon and now South Korea. For instance, here, we really believe that the Amazon is the heart of the planet. The Amazon is the hydrological heart of the planet. We are exporting water for the entire planet. And that's why we are maintaining the planet's climate. So it's amazing also to be able to connect through the waters, and how Korea also is protecting their waters and also protecting their forests. So I am Lilian Freige from Lab Verde, and my organization exists since 2013. And we really believe that the arts play a very important role here in this climate discussion, because it's just through arts that we're going to be able to touch people's hearts, because science is working with data. We have a lot of data nowadays, no? But science cannot touch people's hearts. So just through art and soft power, that I know that Korea really knows how to use soft power to engage community. And I think soft power of culture really can change people's minds, change people cognitive to understand what is going on to the planet. And also creating new memories, new imaginaries, combining different disciplines, combining different communities. So we are really here to claim for the power of art in the climate discussion.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for Lillian. It's amazing to hear all the great work that has been done. And on my flight on the way to Belém, I saw a little bit of the Amazon forest and I was blown away. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to hopefully tour the Amazon and get to see it for myself as well. For the upcoming presentation, I would like to direct your attention to the TV screen as we invite filmmaker Kyung-suk Seol via Zoom. She has directed various short documentaries and video installations such as An Uncomfortable Meal, Study Tea, and Discomfort. Her feature documentary, The Seeds of Time, 2022, received the grand prize in the Korean competition at the 14th DMZ International Documentary Film Festival. She has served as a programmer for the EBS International Documentary Festival, the Daecheon International Music and Film Festival, and the Seoul International ALT Cinema and Media Arts Festival. Alongside her programming work, she continues to research and create moving image works with a focus on nonfiction. As former programmer, during this presentation, she introduces us into the world of art in the form of movies made regarding climate change.
Hello. Thank you for the introduction. And I wish I was there to meet you in person, but yeah, I'm glad to meet you through online. Yeah. Should I share my presentation page? I'm I'm just trying to show the PPT file, but it's not working. Do you see my page?
Yes, we see it.
Okay. Hi. Okay. My name is Suan, and yeah, I use the name Suan in my films. So today I will talk about I will introduce my filmmaking practice a bit, and then I will talk about what filmmakers and artists should aim in this climate crisis era. Okay, so yeah, actually I was introduced too well, so I don't feel any more needs to introduce myself further. But yeah, my name is Suan, and I'm a documentary filmmaker. And yeah, these are two feature films I recently made, and they are both about the native seeds. And I'm into seeds, yes, and I'm into farming because farmers and agriculture is the base of the world, and it's supporting our lives, but it's being neglected. So both films deal with elderly farmers who keep the native seeds. So seeds are very symbolic, I think. Seeds are beginning and the end of the lives, the natural cycle of the all the creatures on the earth. We all have seeds. All the living creatures on the earth have seeds, but the current system, dominating system, is stopping this natural cycle of the seeds. So it's not only the seeds of the crops that we eat, but it symbolizes this the very beginning and the end of all these cycles of everything, I think. So it has many values, biological values, and sociological values and cultural values. Like we are losing seeds actually because seeds are owned by big capitals now, big companies. So we are losing all these values, not only the seeds and real food, our food. So I don't, I'm not going to go deeper to all these values, why it's important, but maybe you all know this, I think. So what we are losing with seeds are various, and importantly, our ability to feel many senses, feel and think differently, because seeds used to have much more names, much more taste, and much more smells and everything, but we are losing all the words to describe it, and along with those words and seeds, we are losing our ability to sense different things, and therefore the ability to think differently. So it's homogeneous. It's I forgot the word. It's making everything the same, and they're trying to make us to think the same. And at the heart of all these values lies relationships. Connecting to the others. And that's why I'm focusing on disease at the moment. And so I try to describe these values through the elderly farmers. And why elderly farmers? Because one of the things we filmmakers should focus on and could deliver to the world is the attitudes of our subjects, I believe. And these elderly farmers have very different attitudes towards the world, because we've in the school we've learned it's a smart way to live, to make the maximum results out of the minimum effort. But their actions are very different. Their actions and their attitudes of living doesn't suit that minimum effort and maximum results, and they have very different values, and they used to live a different life, and their attitudes and how to move, how to talk, and how to touch the things, they show how they used to connect their surroundings. So I try to deliver through my films is attitudes of my subject, because their attitudes embodies their values and they show different values. So what I suggest to the visual artist, the film is one of the visual art. It's actually audio-visual art, but many people perceive it as a visual art. So my suggestion is setting vision aside for a moment, because we all have been trained to overtrust our vision. And we believe this world we see is the true world, but the world we see and the world the bees see and the world the cats see are all different. But we just trust human vision is the true vision. So when we but what vision can do is unveiling only the skin of the things. I mean, the most superficial dimension of the things and dimension of the world. So when we set aside our visions, other senses start to awake. So films have stories, and stories contains facts and what happens, who marries who dies, and who survive, who win. Yeah, that's what most audience perceive the films when they watch films for fun. But there are more the film and art can do, I think. So rather than we can deliver facts and events and this linear story through the film. So, but that's what like other SNS contents can do. Also, TV show can do, or news could do. So, but what only artists could do is delivering how they do and why they do, and the senses behind those events and facts, I think. So to do that, instead of delivering this political situation surrounding the disease, I focused on the farmers' attitudes and different ways they perceive the world, especially the one example of what they perceive in a different way is time. And she is one of my protagonists, and her time doesn't depend on her clock. Her time depends on the other's time. Her time is relative time, because she doesn't look at the clock, or she doesn't carry the mobile phone to check the time, but she sees the time with the rooster crow or many other things. And when she describes the seasons, instead of she say, "Oh, we saw sesame in May or June," she say, when the acacia blooms, we sow sesame. When sesame flowers, we plant florida, like that. So it was always relative time and relative to the others. So she shows in the film her time exists through the time of the other. That's one of the attitudes, and that's the example of the attitudes I want to deliver through my film. And also, one of the way I deliver it through my film is attending to the physical body and the sensory experience of this subject. These farmers, the shape of their bodies and the body movements show how they've been living, like how they were connecting to the others and surrounding, how they were talking to their crops whole their lives. And so their body is not just their body. And the body is not limited to my body. That's what their bodies are showing. So when we can focus on somebody's body and their bodily experience through film, we can perceive the other's feeling. Someone described it beautifully, like only art can touch our hearts. And this is the way I try to touch the other's hearts through my subject. So, so back to the vision and the film we know. I suggest to this to artists to find other senses within visual arts and bring other senses into visual arts to go deep into our subject and to our story. Because I think art begins at the margins and art stays at the margins, I think. And artists' viewpoint are very important. And I believe the artist should always stand on the threshold. Artists don't belong to any political or any biased opinion, social opinion or whatever. We should stand on the threshold and it should stay at the margins. That's how we can see things in the world clearly, I think, because the margins matter. And so what I want to suggest to the young artist to go deep into the other's feeling and my feeling, and to do that we should stay marginal and be radical. We should always be opposed to the current system that causes a climate change, and importantly, we should be aware of greenwashing of the capitalism. And also, I've also worked for the green film festivals, and I worked as a programmer. But these beautiful big festivals, it can easily turn into the greenwashing of capitalism. We should be aware of that, I think. So we can use that kind of international conference and international platforms to show our art and to speak out and speak for the marginal beings. But we shouldn't really belong to them, I think. And the important thing is the artist in there and the artist's eyes that stays at the margins. For today, and a little bit of my introduction and my suggestion to the artists. So
Yes, we
I
can
was
see you
told that
again.
there would be a discussion session afterwards, but I'm afraid that I wouldn't be able to attend until the end of this event because it's late night in Korea, and I have early morning shooting tomorrow. So thanks for listening to me, and thanks for inviting me.
All right. Give a round of applause to Miss Kyung-suk Seo. Thank you so much for the presentation, and I really liked how you ended our session with the lessons of staying marginal, be radical, and be aware of greenwashing of capitalism. I think the last part especially is something that we all really need to be aware of, as it is so easy to just put a label on it saying like, oh, it's green, like it's good for the environment, when technically if we actually look into it, it isn't. All right. Now, thank you so much for the insight into the film world, and now we'll move on to the panel discussion. So for this segment, Siobhan, the founder and director of Studiya, will moderate for us. Let me introduce you to our panelists who have joined us for this discussion. First, we have Alice Oding, chair and founder of Art Change 21, onto the stage for an open... She is a curator and consultant specialized in the ecological transition of the cultural sector and a founding member of We Make Tomorrow. Next, Lillian Faiji, director of Lab Verde. If you could also come up to the stage, we would love that. And next, it will be I myself, Leahy Park, international chair and co-leader of Global Youth Climate Challenges, otherwise known as GYCC. And last but not least, I introduce you to our moderator for our segment, Siobhan, founder and director of Studiya. I will now pass the mic to Siobhan.
Okay, so hi everyone. Thank you for joining, and then thank you, Odin and Lillian and Leahy for joining the session as well. I'm Chavon. I'm the founder of Studiya. Studiya is a art collective and independent art space based in South Korea. Yeah. So I would like to start the panel session by a short introduction. I believe you guys already did introduce yourself a bit, but it would be nice if you could introduce about your organization a bit more intensively. So, yeah.
Is it possible to share the slide? Very short slide?
No, I think it's at the end. You can do it at the end.
Okay. So my name is Alice Audouin, chair and founder of Art of Change 21, and co-leader of United Artists for Climate with Lab Verde.
I'm Lilian Fraige from Lab Verde in the Amazon, and we are together organizing the United Arts for Climate.
I am Leahy Park from GYCC, and we create policy proposals as well as youth advocacy in climate change.
Okay, so we prepared a few questions. I believe you guys received it in advance. So I think I'll start asking one question one by one. So I'll ask Lillian first, I believe. So Lab Verde is an art and climate organization. So I was wondering, as a curator and also as a director, what do you think for artists, is climate change merely a subject of creation, or does it demand an ethical transformation in how art itself is produced, exhibited, and circulated?
Very nice question. So I think it's really important that artists are now it's like a trend, no? When I started 10 years ago, 13 years ago, the artists were like discussing environment in a totally different matter, right? And now we are discussing nature in a very update, and even the meaning of nature, it's also is changing. Now we don't even use the concept of nature. Now we talk about environment, social environment, because nature is this vision that is far from us. And now we are using the concept of social environment to really be inside of this ecosystem, make part of it. And this new understanding in the arts is super important because the art are like addressing the climate change through new visions, to new concepts. But they also are addressing climate change through new materials, sustainable materials, worry about their footprints, worry about the logistics, and also worry about involving other cosmologies to the understanding of nature with a lot of respect. And before, 13 years ago, I could see an approach that was really, I am the artist, I am the subject artist, and nature is the object. And now things are changing. You can see many artists worry about combining poetry, co-creating with nature, and using coexistence as an artistic practice.
Okay, I'll just ask one more follow-up question. But I believe that as an artist, as a curator, and then as a director, an organization based in Brazil, you might feel the seriousity of climate change more intensively. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yes, very good. Yes, for sure, because climate change is impacting the world in very different ways, right? We are not suffering the same way from all over the world. For instance, the global north, are producing a lot of footprints, and the consequences who are suffering are the south, global south, right? For instance, in the Amazon, the world climate change will rise 1.5 degrees. But in Amazon, climate change is affecting the entire cycles of nature. And we are feeling climate change. We will get high 5 degrees. So totally different from the global. We are facing really a catastrophe. Because with 5 degrees, that we already have 40, imagine. When I was little, I wasn't living 40 degrees. Now I am more often, and Christian is here also to as a testimony that we are living this 45 degrees. And when it is 45 degrees, the plants doesn't make photosynthesis anymore. The rivers lost their water. Also, there is a lot of burning in the Amazon. So when the forest is burned, the fuel are like breaking the chain of water cycles. So it's like a chain of catastrophe that we are living in. That is very difficult to even imagine. So climate change for us is already, it's like a big disaster actually for our lives.
Thank you so much for the answer. And I would also like to ask Elise, because you're from France, which is also considered the center of art. So I would also like to ask you the similar question. What are your thoughts about directions of art and climate change going ahead? Because as I know, do you hear me? Because as you mentioned, I do know that you've been joining the COP for several years. So I do want to listen about your thoughts.
Yes, I think it would be the good timing. It would be the good timing to show the slide, because if you want me to answer about COP, I could show you two good examples. Can we go into the slideshow, please? When I started in 2004, I was looking for artists dealing with climate change, and I found less than 20. Many were American people like Amy Balkin, Alexis Rockman, and what is very challenging when you are an artist and when you want to deal with climate change is you don't know how to take it, because it's quite invisible. It's just through consequences. So you can report on a special territory the consequences of climate change. But some artists tried to represent it, and they used like black balloons, and it was horrible and not a good solution. How can we represent it? And I think one of the best examples is Julian Charrier, who tried to recreate the cycle of carbon. So he asked people to breathe, to give their carbon dioxide, and then he created a diamond from it. And then he went to the Arctic and put this diamond back, in the Arctic, like to show, so to understand that, the cycle. So I think even today, artists do not know very well how to represent, how to take it apart from its consequences. Some of them are dealing with concept, but it's not easy as a thematic, because it's so global. And in COP Climate, artists are really focused on bringing awareness. For instance, John Gerard at COP26 in Glasgow, we had a piece, that's why I would love to show the picture if it's possible, was showing Flare Oceania, which follows Western Flag. Western Flag was about oil, and Flare Oceania was talking about the burning oceans, how oceans now are getting hotter and hotter, and which will include sea level rising. So there are many ways to talk about climate when you're an artist, and I think that we are just at the beginning of this thematic in art, and I think we will realize even in 2 years that there are many more artworks will come out dealing with that. We're just at the beginning.
Okay, thank you so much. I also like to ask Lehi from GYCC, because she's from the youth climate change. She's a youth climate activist from GYCC, and I would really like to ask you about your site as a climate activist, about how you view art, and how do you view that art? Which role do you think art could play within in carbon neutrality?
Clearly, I'm not much of an artist. However, I do really appreciate art. And as youth, I think, especially as Korean youth, we really focus on aesthetics and how things look, and we really appreciate the value of art. And I was having a discussion with Siobhan earlier, and he was mentioning how there's a slight bit of controversy in when we create art. Some people could criticize, saying, aren't you essentially making more waste? But I think through those art projects that you create, you have the ability, like you mentioned, soft power, to have people change their minds and to rethink about this situation one more time. And I think that is what is really powerful, because you can't control people through just power, but by changing their minds. And I think that is what art does. So as youth, I really appreciate that.
Okay, thank you so much. So Lillian has to go to the airport. So I'll just ask one more questions each, and then maybe we can talk about Okay, so for Lillian, I'll ask you a question about the responsibility of artists. So in the era of climate emergency, what responsibilities do artists carry what do you think?
Yeah, so how I'm gonna talk about responsibility. I think you can address this subject in different dimensions, right? The responsibility of being engaged your own community, the responsibility of creating this small policy, art, as she was saying, art to change people's mind, and art as a small, like a seed, a small seed of changing, right? But I also love to address the subject talking about, because art is something that's the institutionalized art. It's something that the North, it's really dominating the narratives. And I really feel that this should change, you know? We really have to empower people from the South, the global South. We really need to hear their stories. We really need to create new narratives about climate change from the people that are getting impacted by it, right? Because it's not the same. People in the Amazon, artists from the Amazon, and artists from Paris, for instance. And they don't have the same money to address the climate change issues. They don't have the same amount of money and the same amount of institutionalized market. So for me, one of the big key in the art in scene, art and climate in scene, is like giving new opportunities for the markets that can circulate in the entire planet, and giving voices for the ones that are impacted and for the artists that are creating these narratives.
Okay, thank you so much. And I also like to ask at least one question. I know that your organization has been collaborating with a lot of big artists, especially who've been working with climate change. And I was wondering, like, you've created a lot of exhibitions, you've seen the results, but have you felt that it lacks in the system anything? Like, have you felt something that lacks within the system, like things that needs to be approved or anything?
Have you seen what? Sorry.
Have you seen anything that
What was improved? Yeah. I think that, okay, because I am an observer on this thing, on art and the environment for 20 years, yes, there are more and more exhibitions, more and more artists taking into account their own environmental impact. There are, I think, more and more voices from the global South, but we are far to reach the balance that we need. So I see many improvements. But sometimes if you take an art fair or an art gallery, they would say, oh, I want to reduce my carbon footprint. But they don't think that much about their brand print. They should get more artists dealing with that kind of issues and to share, and another very important thing in the art world is, if you talk about the art market, you have to sell something like an object. But with our kind of artists dealing with climate change, we are more into a project approach because we will work with communities. And so it's a big challenge when the way to make your living as an artist is to sell pieces and to make a real change. And if you take Thomas Saraceno, what he did with Aeroscene, which is a community, it's just a big international movement, or with arachnophilia. So in that case, there is nothing to sell as an artwork. And I think that what is needed now, and we try to do it as association to support that kind of artist in the way they express themselves, is more support and more understanding that you cannot keep. When we created an art prize, we were the first one to say we should stop in the art world to create competition, like 10 finalists, 1 winner. So we created the first art prize in 2021. We had 21 winners because we thought, okay, why are we doing a kind of prize with competition when we should talk about, collective action? So I think that many things must be changed in the art world itself to understand what does that mean, what a common good means, what general interest means, and how can we collectively, take action in a world where competition, even in the art world, is present. So beyond the environment, there is a kind of system that must be changed. And I think that ecology is a huge opportunity to reshape our world, beyond art.
Thank you so much. I'll ask one last short question for Leahy as well. As a climate activist, what are your views on this? What are your opinion? How do you think art and carbon neutrality can go forward together?
Honestly, I don't have much to say about this as it's not my expertise, but I think the new generation has the opportunity with the platforms of social media. And I think that really is able to amplify like whatever creative projects they create or artwork that they create and really put it out into the world. And as a youth, I would like to see a lot more collaboration in that aspect as well. And if even like us non-artist people, if there's like a way for us to kind of share those experiences or share that in Instagram or like more personalized ways and be able to interact with the art, I think that would also be a great opportunity to like help promote more advocacy and to create more awareness.
Okay, thank you so much. And yeah, lastly, I wanted to ask Lillian and Alice, because I do know that you guys launched a project called United Artists for Climate. Yeah.
So it's very easy. You can have a look on our website or Instagram account. I know we are short in time because Lillian has to go back to the Amazon, so I would accelerate. Let's go to the next slide. I was talking about, this is Sonia Guajajara. It's our big project named Mask Book with many artists all over the world, workshops, and it's a participatory project for people, how to use waste and how to express yourself, how to bring your voice. And it's also a collective work of art based on photography. This is Mask Book. And then just to have a look on the COP. Yeah, so some artists, Yuli Lucy was part of our big action, is from Tonga Island. And with John Gerard, they did this Flare Oceania. We had the Fountain on Fire of Julian Charrier, and Wen Feng from China is a very important artist in our NGO. We launched our first artistic action with her in Paris for COP31, and she made a performance about air pollution. Lucy Horta, very important. And now it's time to talk about our current action, which has a huge success, Lillian. So United Artists for Climate, we created the account on Instagram, and we put it online the first day of COP, and more than 100 artists already participated to talk about their relationship with the environment and to support three main goals of this COP.
So,
okay. So for us, it's super important to have an agenda at COP as an artistic movement that is going to really push policies maker to really protect forests. And the first of all is, of course, the defend on the Paris Agreement, that everybody have to participate. All the countries should participate and stand for this 1.5 degrees. Sorry.
okay.
And the last one is to put culture at the heart of climate action. And it is very important because culture was very far from COP. And now since Dubai COP28, it starts to be included and understood, So, and we will get maybe a major step at this COP with a resolution based on culture. So we fight for this too. And so I'm very glad to partner. You were talking about the Global South. It was not possible for us based in Paris to do something regarding the COP in Brazil, like from our Occidental perspective only. It was only teaming up with a local player that it could be relevant. Otherwise today is a nonsense. Occidental countries can't come to COP, in a country like Brazil and say, oh, see my artists who are doing this and that. Now, as I told you before, we have to cooperate, and we have to cooperate with countries, as you said, which are facing climate change, and are the first victims, and who have amazing artists talking about those issues.
Exactly, and also this campaign is super important also for the Amazon region, because we are pushing this agenda that is also supporting this project, federal project called Floresta Viva, that is enhancing the reserves in the Amazon basin. And this is really important for the Amazon. Know that governments should protect way more extension of the Amazon.
Okay, so thank you so much. I would love to ask more questions, but I know Lillian has to go back to the Amazon. So yeah, so hopefully I think we'll not get the Q&A session. Yeah, we'll probably not do. So yeah, this is the end of our session. Thank you everyone for attending the session, and thank you Lillian, thank you Alice, and thank you Leahy for the preparation as well. And
so
then
Xuan, I really feel that this is the first discussion that we are having together, and I really hope that new kind of movements, artistic movements, can be created out of this initiative. For instance, I would love to receive Korean artists in Lab Verde, and we also would love to visit Korea. So I really hope that this is the beginning of something bigger.
we're always prepared to host you, so yeah, I guess we'll meet at COP31, COP32. Yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, let's just have a quick photo.
Thank you so much. With this, we will now conclude our collaborated session between GYCC, Studiya, on the topic of art and carbon neutrality for a sustainable future. We would like to have a group photo session.